What's going on, guys? Roger Dodger, back at the Flooring Podcast with my co-host, Tony. So today, Tony, I have a little bit of a dialogue of what I want to talk about. Obviously, a lot of people don't understand how to mix social media with their flooring store. You know what I mean? Because I think that's one thing that most people don't understand, especially if you're just a regular retail store. Let's say you have a plumbing store and it's a retail store, or you have I would say like electricity supplies or anything retail walk-in is what I'm saying. Kind of like a hardware store.
I feel like at first, like you might think like, oh, no one wants to see those kind of videos, like it's boring. But the people that watch those videos are the other people that are like in your industry.
Yeah.
Because like, well, as you know, the way that like TikTok and Instagram is, they'll push your videos to other people that are like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, if you do flooring videos, other people that do flooring or other flooring stores are gonna see you. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's only people that the only people that it's gonna reach are the people that are interested in it. Usually, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, sure, you might reach other people if like your video is like interesting enough, you know. Mm-hmm. But it's always worth a shot, you know, to bring in new customers, you know.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed about the algorithm since I've studied the way social media operates. Obviously, our phones are listening all the time, right? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people don't understand that if for some reason, and I'm pretty sure you've been in this experience where you're talking about a specific car part, or you're talking about something that you and your wife are looking for, a furniture or a furniture piece or anything's very, very specific. Give me an example, something that you're shopping for with your wife or your...
Like, let's say just you and your wife are going to say, oh, like, we want to buy a stroller, let's say.
Yes.
You know, and you're talking about it in the car, you will probably get an advertisement for it, like, within the next day or two, just because you were talking about it. So, like, for example, if someone was like, hey, honey, we need to buy floors in the next couple weeks, there's a good chance that your video might pop up, like, on their feed because they were talking about it. You know, and that's the whole idea behind it. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you a quick little baby story right here. So I remember a customer. I remember experiencing this, and I don't know if I've told you this story before, but algorithms are really strong. Okay, and when I mean algorithms, I mean your phone is listening, your Alexa's listening, your Google, whatever technology or AI you have in your house, if it's your phone, if it's whatever it is, it's listening. Yeah. Okay, and it could be good and bad, but I think that in the business world, it can be good, and I'll explain. I remember this lady one time coming into the store, and she tells me this, and she says, you know, I got to know you because my daughter, and this is kind of weird, okay? Her daughter was scrolling on her For You page on TikTok. It was a 13-year-old little girl, okay? She's scrolling on TikTok, and her mom and dad are having a conversation about flooring. I don't know if I told you this story. So she's talking to her husband, honey, we need to get some flooring. What do you think? We need to change out the floors. And her daughter's scrolling on TikTok, right? And she's a 13-year-old little girl. And it's crazy. Her daughter comes across my page as her mom and dad are talking about flooring. And I think I was live, or maybe it was a video, or I don't know what she came across. But point is that while they were talking, the little girl pulls her phone, one of my videos or my live, and says, hey, mom, go see this guy.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Just that fast.
That quick. That night, that lady, she said that all night she's scrolling through all my content, and she realized that all my content taught her how to buy floors, what floors to look for, and obviously not to buy gray floors, right? But her and her husband haven't remodeled the house. They've had it for 10 years. I ended up getting to meet her and talk to her, and I met the daughter. The 13-year-old little girl, she was a doll, like a beautiful little family, you know? And it was just crazy to me that social media is listening to you and can help you when you think you don't need help, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, like, on the business side, like, for sure, because, I mean, that's what's going to curate your content towards the people that it needs to get to. You know what I mean? So all the more reason, like, if you own even if you don't own a retail store, installers that do it too. I mean, that's
a hair salon. It doesn't. I think all businesses should have social media.
I've even seen like gyms, like.
Oh wow,
like
that's cool. I would be interested in watching that.
I was scrolling. I think it was like yesterday or 2 days ago, and I saw like it was not an advertisement. It was a genuine TikTok from like some gym in like LA, and I was like, oh wow,
like an independent. You're saying
an independent gym, and I was like, oh, like that's cool, and it's just not something that you would thought you would see. At least like me growing up in the social media era, where all it is like memes and funny things, and to like. Obviously now I'm older and now I'm seeing like other businesses because that's what we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll do it. And I get it. Before I used to be like, oh, like, like kind of corny or whatever. But now I really understand it because I see that it really helps,
Yeah. So the reason why I wanted to have this specific dialogue to our podcast, I'm going to title this one, How Social Media Changed Our Flooring Store Forever. Okay, so number one, the first question that everybody wants to know is, whose idea was it to start making videos about flooring? What do you think? Whose idea was it?
Well, you're the first person to do it. I mean, you did it once you started working at this store. I mean, it was yours, I guess, right?
Yeah. So the reason why, no, it's just a question because obviously people are going to say, oh, Roger, it's always Roger. Roger's always boosting his chest out. Oh, he's the one doing everything. No, originally, let's tell the story. All of this social media, I didn't believe in social media. I thought social media was a bunch of bullshit, right? I remember working at the Oxnard location, and you would be on social media. Noe would be on social media. All the youngins would scroll on their phones and just pretty much bullshit throughout the day. They would pass time. They would pull orders. They would help customers. But during the downtime, what would people be doing while people aren't working?
Yeah, we're scrolling on Instagram or TikTok.
Exactly, entertaining themselves because it's boring being at work, right? So when that happened, I would get annoyed being in my office. I was a store manager at the Oxnard store, and I would get annoyed and be like, these guys are just bullshitting on their phone all day, right? But then I put two and two together. I came to a realization. I said, okay, if these guys are scrolling on their phone, entertaining themselves while there's downtime, is there other people in the world doing the same thing? Right? Yeah. So I thought to myself, is that what other people are doing at work? Is the receptionist working at Toyota? Is the receptionist working at Lexus? Is that the receptionist working at Mercedes? Is that the reception? I'm just trying to put perspective into it.
Everybody's on their phones all the time.
So with that being said, how long ago, and that goes to kind of start digging how, 2019, 2019, let's get into the history a little bit. So about 2019, right? Or was it 2018? When we had Martin, you, Noe, me working at the Oxnard store together as a team. It was around 2018, 2019, right? Yeah. And we had, the way we were running business, it was a little different. We didn't have social media, like I was saying. There was no social media. People were just scrolling on their phones. So I put two and two together, and I thought to myself, okay, if these guys are scrolling on their phones, then everyone else is doing the same thing. And I remember telling you, Tony, you think it'd be a good idea, because you were like supervisor, and you were right under me. And you're like, I told you, hey, do you think it'd be a good idea if we made content about flooring? And originally you were like, what? You even were kind of like, it was unusual. It was out of the norm.
Because I never thought it would be in a way that would be entertaining. And not that it's entertaining for everyone. I'm sure some people are like, oh, this is boring, But entertaining for some people or other people that maybe you didn't think about. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and then out there obviously watching like you do some of your videos, I'm like, oh no, it can be interesting, or it can be worth my 10, 20 seconds to watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I remember you were what's the word? Skeptical.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
You were skeptical. I remember telling you, hey, Tony, and I remember going to the Oxnard store, and I had Noe, and I said, Noe, record me on this. I want to make a video talking about SPC, and I hammered a tile. I remember I hammered a tile in the back of the warehouse.
I have that video.
You still have that video?
I have that video.
Hold on to that video. Don't ever lose that video. We'll post it in the future for people to see it. Yeah. Because that was the beginning of everything.
It came up on my Snap stories like just a few days ago.
Good. So hold on to that video. We'll show it to people later. But what I'm trying to say is we had an idea and we never really worked on that idea. We kind of ignored it because maybe we just didn't think it would be a good idea at that moment. There was a lot of things going on in my life. I think I was getting married. I don't know. There was a lot of things going on in my life and your own personal life probably. And I don't think social media was on my mind as heavily as it is today. You know what I mean? But my point, what I'm saying is, do you think that once I started making content, it changed the way we do business?
Yeah, no, for sure. Because, I mean, we were solely relying on whoever was walking in, you know? And don't get me wrong, walk-ins are cool, you know, and it's a different kind of sale, you know, to do. But when you have two different avenues that you can get, you know, sales in,
yeah,
it'll transform. And especially when, like, a brand that you're supporting will blow up, you know, and they have nice colors. And everyone around the country and in Canada could tell that there's nice colors and they start to order. Like I said, it just brings in, it's like having a second set of customers.
Yes.
Like literally.
Yes.
Like you just grabbed a whole second set that you could possibly, you know, close deals with or whatever, you know?
Tony, I want you to tell these people, how was it? And you started with me at the Oxnard store. What was it like dealing with a walk-in customer before we had online business? What was it like? Take me through it. And I know you've told me before, but really, really tell me what it was like experiencing a walk-in customer that has never been to your store, doesn't know nothing about you. What is it like going to a flooring store that sells flooring, retail? How does it feel to deal with the face-to-face customer 4 or 5 years ago?
I'm not going to say it's exactly like buying a car, but it's very similar to buying a car. Obviously, the customer's going to walk in, and any good salesperson's going to, you know, kind of pat him down, like, how much do you need? What color are you into? Like, basically kind of ask him, like, what are you looking for? You know, is there anything in the store that I could show you towards right away? And it's kind of like buying a car, you know what I mean? And then you'll get down to the point of once they pick the color to get down to a specific price, you know? And then there's a back and forth, kind of like I said, like buying a car, you know? Now, when you compare that to, like, an online sale, you know, sales are just real firm and quick and easy, you know? But when you walk into a store, especially like if no one has an idea of what they're looking for, it could take like an hour, sometimes 2 hours to like fully get a customer through the process. You know what I mean?
And so I want them to understand. So when a customer walks the door, and I really want to dig into it, because this episode's going to really talk about what it's like to be in the retail world of a flooring store. And I think that's what people don't understand. I think that what you're saying is valid. When the customer walks to the door, and we can reenact this, I don't mind doing it. The customer walks to the door and says, "Hi, how are you? What is it? Let us do it."
Yeah.
So hey, how's it going? Hey, I'm walking in.
All right. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good, man.
That's good. How can we help you today?
So I'm looking for flooring. Do you guys have waterproof flooring here? Like, my wife wants something that's waterproof. I heard that there's a new vinyl in the industry. What tell me about that?
Yeah, so I mean, the newest, like, most sturdiest kind of vinyl that you could get is SPC. So that's mainly what we're going to be stocking here. There is a new waterproof laminate. So it's waterproof on the surface and water resistant for 300 hours. So we have those kind of two options that are kind of the most popular right now. You know, what kind of colors are you guys looking for?
You know what? I saw, we haven't remodeled our house for about 10 years. And I saw my neighbor had gray, and it looked really nice, really modern. I liked it, man. It looks fresh and new.
Yeah, I mean, depending on whatever obviously you like, but you have to take into account, like, do you have pictures of your cabinets? What color are your paint walls? You know, we need to kind of know that so we can kind of steer you in the right direction. Because you could buy any floor, you know, obviously, but it might not be the best floor if you want it to last, like, you know, 10, 20 years in terms of, like, matching and coordinating with whatever you plan to do.
Oh, the design you're saying.
The design.
Okay. And then, but you said something about waterproof, and then you said something about, so this is what people will say. They'll say, I want the best. How would you answer that? I want the best floor you have.
The best for what?
You see? So, and that's, I think that's the number one thing when it comes to retail walk-in face-to-face sales. I think that it's pretty much a battle of who knows more.
Sometimes.
Right?
If the customer wants to, like, so because there are some customers that come in thinking that they know everything, you know? And And not that some people don't. You know, there's a lot of people that you kind of come into contact with that do know what they're talking about. But like, there's people that come in and say they want like something that doesn't exist. They're like, I had a customer walk in, I want laminated vinyl. Like, what? Like, you know what I mean? So like, there has
what do you think they meant? Laminated vinyl?
I have no idea. You know? Well, he wanted vinyl. That's what he wanted.
Also, the terminology he was using was mixed up.
Yeah, because he thought laminate meant click. So people gonna get these because everyone knows laminate as click floors, and now that these SPCs are coming out with click system, he thought I want laminated vinyl, click vinyl.
Oh wow!
So the terminology gets mixed up, and then people go from store to store, you know, kind of saying that, and like, well, me, I'm thinking like, well, what does this guy really want? Does he want laminate or does he want vinyl?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out he wanted vinyl because he saw a plank of vinyl that we have on a pallet. He said, no, this is what I want. So sometimes people have seen it, or you know, but they don't know what it's called, or they don't know the correct terminology. So it'll kind of get them messed up, you know? And then, so if for the people that don't know what they're talking about or what they're looking for, like I was just walking into a store, you know? So you can have someone tell you what's what. But if you kind of already know what you are looking for, like you know what SPC is, and you know what a wear layer is, and or if you're looking for laminate and you know what an AC rating is, then you could buy online and you know you're going to be fine. You know what I mean?
But in your experience and my experience, how many people really have the knowledge, and they can go online and just surf the web and learn everything themselves and become a flooring specialist online overnight? But do you think reading everything on the internet is going to make you a flooring specialist?
No, I mean it's just surface information. You know what I mean?
Yes. So there's no hands-on experiences, what you're saying.
No,
there could be Reddit. There's Reddit.
Of course, there's Reddit, and obviously those forums, like those are forums, obviously, of other people's experiences, which are also helpful. But in practice, is so different than like reading something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you can watch a video on how to install a floor, but can you really like install it yourself? Like, like I've seen a bunch of videos and like to do things. You know, like I watch like tile install videos, like to do showers, and I'm like, oh, it looks kind of easy when they like float the mud. I'm like, but I know I could never do that. You know, so you have to kind of know your limitations. You know, at the same time, or like if you have questions, like that's why people reach out to us like on Instagram, like on DMs, like what is this, or they comment on a video, or like we try to teach. Like you had a video the other day talking about AC rating. So like now people know if they didn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So obviously, the retail is way different. The retail is way different, and we still get retail. That's one thing that we do. We do still get retail. I think you guys still get retail. These guys still get retail. And when I talk about retail, I'm talking about the customer that walks to the door and says, "Hey, I know nothing about flooring. Can you please teach me?" And that type of sale takes a long time to actually close. And that's one thing that I don't think people understand. In the retail world, the same with the car sales, the same with just day-to-day retail, like I'm saying, it takes longer to close a sale like that. I'm not talking about like, oh, let's close them, let's take his money now. No. Getting them to be knowledgeable, explaining, teaching, designing, all of that can take up to a whole day or a couple of weeks. Because let's say that customer comes in and it's a wife or a husband, they come in alone. First you teach the husband. Then he comes back on the weekend and comes and brings his wife. And now everything you told him,
you got to retell.
Now you got to reteach his wife, because the way you explained it, the way you sang that song, he liked it so much. Now he wants you to sell it to his wife.
They'll go. He's like, tell my wife what you told me.
Exactly. They all say that.
Tell me what you told. Tell her what you told me the other day. I'm
yes.
Like, all right.
Because he can't do it. He can't go back and explain what you said to her when he goes home. So he's like, let me just rather take you to the guy that sold me and told me and taught me about SPC, that taught me about laminate, vinyl, and taught me about hardwood or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I noticed, that the retail walk-in face-to-face is a longer process.
Yeah, and especially like when we used to get involved with installs.
Oh, man, yeah.
I mean, that's
lengthy, too.
It's lengthy because you got to go measure. You get the measurements back. You call the customer. Then you send them. They get approved. Like, it's a lot more of a lengthy, long process. You know what I mean? So two different kind of sales, two completely different kind of thing, but they're both interesting in their own ways. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So obviously we talked about how it feels to be in the retail. There's a lot of people right now that are still doing that, and we're still doing that too. Yeah. We're still doing that. But I think that the part that you're talking about is you need to start building another avenue.
Yeah.
Because we've talked in other podcasts and we've talked in the past, social media is here. Social media is changing the way you do business in all industries. All industries, real estate, barbering, anything you do in your business, you got to involve social media. And there's a lot of people that are in the flooring industry that are old cats that don't want to learn about social media and think, my business, this is the way my business operates. I'm comfortable. I'm set here. I don't need more money. I think I'm good here. But one thing that I love about the way we do business and the way we've changed is that we're evolving with the times.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about like being comfortable because times change. Like less people are going into the stores and more people are buying online. So if you're not opening up those avenues, you're probably losing money.
This is
true.
You know
what I mean?
This is true.
And well, that's basically it. Like if you're not opening up and evolving, you're gonna die out.
Yes. You know? This is 100% true. So how has making flooring videos changed the way we do business today versus 5 years ago? So I'll talk about it and then you can get into it. So obviously the walk-in customer, they would come in, we would explain the different designs, the price points, the different qualities that we sell, and then the customer would decide on which color they like, and then they would take samples home, they would come back a few days later, and then they would purchase their floors, right? But nowadays, we are able to, because we work online a lot more than ever, we're able to send samples to their house now. People can watch our videos and talk about the same experiences we're having with the walk-in customer. We're explaining it online. We're making content about it. And now people could sit at home or by their bed or sit next to their significant other while it's bedtime and sit and watch videos together and say, hey, this is what we didn't have time, honey, to go stop by that store. They're open from a certain time to a certain time. But after hours, we're able to watch the videos that they talk about, and it makes sense to watch it after hours. Would you agree?
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of the videos will answer a lot of the questions that you probably have. And the answers that we don't, or the questions that we don't answer, rather, I mean, they'll comment and they'll ask us anyway. You know what I mean? And we try to be as helpful as possible. I mean, I always try to, like, respond to anyone that has a question about anything that I can answer or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think it just makes it easier for the customer so that, you know, and that's the whole point of doing business is you want to make it as easy for your customer to purchase from you,
yeah,
you know, as possible. You don't want to make it hard, you know?
Yeah. So what we did, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
What we did, I think, was when no one understands how to do it. And I think that's why it's so hard to do. It's hard to do the type of business that we're doing. So what I'm trying to say is, if you explain what the process is today, it's so different from 5 years ago. So like someone calls in, hey, Tony, I saw your video. I really like these 3 floors you're talking about in your video. Can I get samples? What do you say?
Yes.
When they're talking to you on the phone?
Yeah, I mean, what's your name, what's your address? And we send out the samples, you know, like it's just really that easy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like it's that hard, but to build up like to that point is hard. Like, because we've gotten here at this point, but like, for example, back then, like we didn't have grips of samples ready to be sending out to the customer. But now that we're getting so many orders, we have to have like the infrastructure or like, you know,
the system
samples,
and process.
the systems ready to have that done. Because no one was used to going and cutting samples for an hour to 2 hours a day, and now someone has to do that. You know what I mean? And now someone has to be boxing samples for a few hours a day, and then throughout the day because we're getting orders throughout the day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and it's not something that we were used to before, so there was growing pains kind of in between. But now that we're kind of set for it, it's fine. You know, and
now it's easy.
It's easy now. But to get there, like I remember when we first started doing the orders, and me and Martin were like, we have to get all these samples, and they're all downstairs. And we didn't know, because we have never done it before. You know, I remember it took us a whole day to pack like 6 or 7 samples.
Yeah.
Orders. Yeah. You know? And then now we could do that like in 5 minutes. Why? Because we know what to do and we have systems in place, you know?
Yes.
But all that takes time.
Wow. So what's going on, guys? We're going to have to shorten this podcast, but we'll see you on part 2.